Good evening, I am William Theo, and this is PTV News Now. Ukraine threw all caution to the wind when it let a ship carrying thousands of tons of wheat leave the Black Sea port earlier today, exposing itself to aerial fire or naval artillery attacks from Russia, which in July rescinded the Black Sea grain deal that allowed hundreds of thousands of tons of wheat to leave southern Ukraine for distribution to Africa and elsewhere. Russia has issued a warning since July it will not hesitate to target ships carrying civilians and grain cargo that try to leave the Black Sea port in southern Ukraine. As such, Ukraine has resorted to using the countries of the European Union or EU as transit routes for destinations for Ukrainian grain bound for Africa and the Middle East. It isn't only Ukraine's wheat that feeds much of Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia and America. Among its highly in-demand products are maize, rapeseed, sunflower seeds, and oil. Citing conflicting and inconsistent statements made, Senate Committee Member on Justice and Human Rights Jinggoy Estrada called for a motion citing in contempt Franz Garcia Ruiz, employer of allegedly abused Elvi Vergara, in today's third marathon hearing. In a post-hearing presser, Senate Committee Chair on Justice and Human Rights Francis Tolentino will stay in detention while the Senate carries out parallel probes to finalize its charges against the alleged mastermind in the domestic abuse case. Ruiz, along with other witnesses, is scheduled to go under the lie box or polygraph test. In early August, 44-year-old and nearly blind Elvi Vergara stepped forward to complain of excessive maltreatment suffered at the hands of her employers in Occidental Mindoro since 2020. Once again, the nations of the world gather in New York City for this year's United Nations General Assembly, where high on the agenda is an assessment report on the progress of meeting the 17 Sustainable Development Goals formulated in 2015, with hopes to achieve them by 2030. But as rain fell and dark clouds and overcast skies hung over New York City, the truth is the UN has to play catch-up in trying to achieve success in attaining this ambitious goal. But as VOA's Veronica Balderas Iglesias reports, even a 50% success mark at this juncture is welcome and bodes well for the challenge up ahead.
On a rainy day in New York City, a somber reminder at the United Nations General Assembly of how world leaders are behind schedule in meeting the 17 Sustainable Development Goals they adopted in 2015 and hoped to achieve by 2030.
Despite commitments to eradicate poverty and to reduce hunger being at the core of this agenda, alarmingly, 1.2 billion people were still living in multidimensional poverty as of 2022. It is estimated that approximately 8% of global population, or 680 million people, will still be facing hunger in 2030.
Young leaders also raised concerns about the lack of progress toward the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, demanding action to combat climate change and concrete solutions to empower their generation.
68 million young people are looking for jobs. All over the world, millions of young people are unable to access social protection coverage. Mental health problems like depression and anxiety are a serious concern for young people.
World leaders did manage to adopt on Monday a political declaration that brings a ray of hope to struggling economies.
This includes clear support for an SDG stimulus of at least $500 billion a year, as well as an effective debt relief mechanism that supports payment suspensions, longer lending terms, and lower rates.
Guterres said countries can help get the SDGs back on track by paying attention to 6 targeted areas, including relieving hunger, ensuring gender equality, and improving education.
Our proposed Global Digital Compact will also help countries build safe digital systems that provide internet access for all, including students in hard-to-reach communities.
Guterres highlighted another initiative that aims to create 400 million new jobs, especially in the green, care, and digital sectors. He also emphasized that countries must act now to rescue the SDGs. Veronica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News, the United Nations.
Meanwhile, let's turn to Ala Sungduan with the latest news in the Cordilleras.
Pilipinas, impanakil ni Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation and Unity, Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr., ang natumpal ti agrup amin alinaon ti closure agreement itinagbutan ti gobyerno ken CBA-CPLA. Di July 4, 2011, 24 atawan kalpasan ti parakapirma ti Mount Data Peace Agreement wenno sipat na pirma anti-closure agreement itinagbatan ti gobyerno ti Pilipinas kan ti Cordillera People's Liberation Army Cordillera Budong Administration. Nakalanad iti katulagan ti final disposition of arms and forces, economic reintegration of CPLA members, community development, inter-municipal and inter-barangay development projects, kan panagbalin ti CBA-CPLA kas socio-economic organization. Malagsid iti panang suportarda iti misaksakad nga Cordillera Autonomy, isaksakad mo ti OPAPRO, ti localized development iti riyon. Nangilatang pa iti hensya iti nasruk 700 million pesos para iti Cordillera iti sidong ti pamana program intun 2024.
Tinitingnan natin, we are revisiting yung socio-economic packages na tinitingnan natin dito sa Cordillera. We admit na yung hindi nabibigyan ng tuon yung socio-economic development ng Cordillera. That's why we are pushing for the autonomy so that all the tinatawag nating political and socio-economic issues can be resolved.
Iti sabali adamag ni rescue dagiti otoridad ti dua a menor de edad a babae a naduktanan nga agtrab-trabaho iti maysa a balay paginuman iti Baguio City. Napintas a panagbiag kanu tingkari dagiti recruiter iti dua a menor de edad a babae manipod Pangasinan. Bulan ti Agosto iti simamputda iti Baguio City tapno agtrabaho ngem naloko dagayam. Sanda nga mo nga iti maysa gayam a balay paginuman ti pagdrawhanda. Naduktalan daytoy kalpasan ang nagturong ti ina ti maysa kadagiti biktima iti istasyon ti pulisya. Naisangkat mo't adagos iti operasyon dagiti kamang ti Abanao Police Station kadwa ti CSWO wenno CSWDO ken ti barangay captain ti barangay Kagitingan tapno ma-rescue dagiti dua a menor de edad. May sagsagana ti panakipila ti reklamo a panaglabsing iti Republic Act 7610 wenno Child Abuse Law kontra iti manager ken empleyado iti bar.
Meron pong mga naging naugnay na mga personalidad na naging instrumento sa pagre-recruit sa kanila at pagpunta sa kanila dito. Pero sa ngayon po ay hindi po namin pwedeng ibigay muna kasi ongoing pa po yung aming follow-up sa investigation.
Dagiti damdamag manipod dito'y PTV Cordillera, siyak ni Ala Sungduan, na imbag, Arabi.
Thank you, Ala Sungduan. This is William Theo. Stay informed, be aware, get ahead, be abused. Get the news right here.